Welcome to the $1 Million Listening Podcast. In this show, we aim to help people grow in all areas of life with the focus of getting to the next level. I'm your host, Mari Wines, realtor, marketing guru, real estate coach, and co-owner of E3 Realty. Welcome to these ladies who are selling Silicon Valley. So if you could both tell me about Silicon Valley, everyone knows it as the tech capital of the world or the innovation epicenter of the world. What does that mean when it comes to housing or real estate specifically?
Well, a little bit of my interpretation, it's really not just a geography of it. Most people think of it, okay, it's south of San Francisco to the south end of San Jose and kind of spanning the peninsula. But it's also something that continues to expand. If you would have asked people, oh, it's only Mountain View, it's only Cupertino, but as more of the tech industries continue to expand, a lot of that Silicon Valley term gets used in different ways, and it kind of is crossing in the different borders. But Silicon Valley really means an area that is influenced heavily by tech. It's the main predominance of the workforce. It's an area that has a fast pace of living. So the clients and the whole experience is going to move faster there than probably any other place we've encountered. And the expectations are extremely high and very high risk, but can also have very high reward as well.
Yeah, and in my experience, I think originally when you talk about Silicon Valley, it's more probably limited to San Jose area, and then I see over the years expanded, and then people always say, oh, it's San Francisco and Bay Area.
Yeah.
Especially after I moved here, we call it Bay Area instead of Silicon Valley. However, people out of here, They always call it Silicon Valley.
Yes.
So your clients have an extremely high net worth, which means they require a specific level of service that you have mastered so well. How does that work out for you on a daily basis, or what kind of efforts does that take?
So that it's a good question because it is a different experience in terms of you're working with highly intelligent people that want quick answers as effectively and efficiently as possible. They want to know all their options, and they want to know they're talking to a professional that's skilled and knowing the options available for them and what the cause and effect could be on each path. And they want you to move at a quick speed so then that way they can make decisions. A lot of them are very busy. They don't have much time to, sit and go through the process. And there's some sellers we've met that, or actually I should say we haven't met them in person. We've helped them sell their homes in Silicon Valley and never seen them face to face. It's something to where there has to be a lot of confidence and knowledge in your skill set, as well as an understanding of the data, and knowing the market inside and out is really a big demand for clients, and that's something that we pride ourselves on is the communication, the data and local knowledge, being well connected in the community, and going above and beyond what people expect.
Yes, I second that. I think here people really emphasize on how the service they receive from you. They expect you to be professional. In the meantime, they probably already know a lot of data about the market. They know where they want to live. They did their research. So when they meet you, you probably need to show your knowledge and how much you know the market. That can leave a big impression on them. Otherwise, if you say, oh, I have done this, I've done that, but then you are not really know the market well, they might still not trust you just by the numbers you give. You really have to show that you're knowledgeable. And also, I think responsive is very important. I work with a lot of buyers on my side. I see most of the time they say they really prefer that you can get a response immediately, even message, email, or phone calls. They are busy too, so they might just oh, I want a quick answer. But that's also something you need to know that it's the answer they're looking for. It's just not something you can random throw on them because they will verify it themselves later too.
Yes, it has to be well thought out. You have to back it up with resources and data. Yeah, verified.
And so I think there are more millionaires in Silicon Valley than any other area in the United States. And you kind of associate millionaires with luxury real estate. And we were talking earlier about the different meanings of luxury.
Yes.
If you want to go into detail, I just find that fascinating because a lot of people probably don't know. People probably think about Silicon Valley and they think about mansions with pools and elevators for their cars in the garage and ice cream machines.
Yes. It is funny because when sometimes people hear about the homes Ashley and I sell in terms of the price points, they think, oh my gosh, that must have been some amazing mansion. And just one of the recent sales we had, it was in Willow Glen, and $2.3 million for practically a teardown. And it wasn't about the home, it was about the lot, it was about the premium luxury location and the prestige of that neighborhood as opposed to the home itself. So a lot of people would say $2.3 million for something that I have to put, anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million into it just to renovate, or you're going to bulldoze the whole thing down and rebuild. Sounds crazy to some people, but that's, not out of the realm of unusual in our area. It's just considered normal. And that was something I had 7 offers on. And all of them were, wanting to do the same thing. They weren't afraid of it, completely comfortable. But it is true where we're working with clients that are high net worth. And a lot of times when we're submitting offers, we have to look at, sharing proof of funds or a pre-approval letter. And sometimes our clients on paper, they're receiving amazing salaries and millions of dollars in the bank, but that doesn't mean they can get their dream home. And it's pretty sad when people say, oh my gosh, well, gee, if my entry level option for the neighborhood I want is going to be a mortgage payment of $10,000 to $15,000 a month, it seems overwhelming to some people, to where a lot of times we've met clients that even selling their property, one we went into, and it was in San Jose, there was no backyard patio furniture at all. And I said, gee, you guys have been here a long time. Is there, oh, no, well, we're so busy working all the time just paying for the house. We don't have time to enjoy it. So it's something to think of. It might seem really grand on the outside, like there's a lot of money that's being made and high income, but are they having the quality of life of being able to enjoy and savor life and experience those things and having these big luxury homes? The majority do not, but then we do also have the other spectrum to where luxury is typically going to be $4 to $5 million and up. Los Altos, there was 81 sales that were over $5 million, and those are beautiful custom homes with amazing finishes, because that area, it demands a certain kind of caliber when it comes to homes and what's available. So it is an interesting, clients, the homes. It's definitely different from probably most markets anywhere else in the U.S.
So you work with more buyers.
Yes.
What kind of homes are they shopping for? Are they shopping for like the neighborhood she just mentioned, or condos in the downtown area?
So it varies. I have buyers range probably from $700K to like budget to $10 million. And they might have different wants and needs and different timelines. However, they're facing the same problem, that there's no house on the market that they can afford. No matter what your budget is, you just keep thinking, I want this, and your budget is higher, you want more. So there's always a gap between the budget and the real market. So to fill that gap, I think as an agent, that's what we need to do, is kind of like make a priority to the client, know the client what they need, what they want. Even though we say always, we're joking saying, oh, millionaires, and even for maybe very young professional there at their 30s, they could probably reach that too, because they have the stocks. And then for them, they might just buy an entry level house or like their first home, but then they might end up paying like $2 million for a single family, as Trisha mentioned, and have to pay another $200K or $300K just to renovate or remodel, because those are old houses. So for those buyers, especially first time home buyers, some of them don't mind working on it. And then, but I have seen actually much more younger generation buyers. They actually prefer no work, moving ready.
Yeah.
So they'd rather go with townhomes that has nice, beautiful look of the house, instead of buying maybe a old single family home and work on it, because they know that it's just too much work for them. And for those who buy luxury houses, I have seen it's very funny, because they might talk to their friends and families who also lived in, let's say, a 5 million houses. However, they might bought it like 5 or 10 years ago. So when they ask them, hey, if I'm going for a house at this price range, they say, oh, I think you should be okay with 5 million. However, $5 million in the Silicon Valley, or we say Bay Area, if you go to those high-end market, Palo Alto, Los Altos, you might not even getting something really nice. So that's like a big thing about it here. Even I don't know how high net worth you need to be to find the dream house you have. It just takes money and takes time.
Yes. Yeah, and sometimes the dream house is different for some clients because there is a difference on generations when it comes to luxury and what's considered high end. And sometimes, we work with clients that have a very high net worth, but they don't want to show it off, and they're a little bit more conservative. They'll drive the old beaten up cars and look like they're wearing the sneakers and super down to earth, but and they might have millions of dollars or even a billionaire, but they want more of like the reserved kind of appearance and not just a showcase. Yeah.
And I noticed they might not even spend that much money to buy a house. I think it depends, but most of them actually, I have client maybe who has a couple $1 million sitting on the account, but she is by herself, so she would just purchase a property she feels comfortable to pay the monthly mortgage instead for going like half of her money to buy a house. And then I think it all depends. But in general here, because the median housing price is so high and most people has a very good income in the past couple of years, so when they are looking to the market, they know where they want to lend it.
Yeah, and it's also interesting. The new $1 million home is now really $2 million. Like $2 million is becoming it feels like the entry level now
for single family
it's
house.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you have a team of women there in Silicon Valley. What would you say is like the secret sauce or the magic of the office that all of you women bring to the market there?
I think a big part of it is the support, being able to have that encouragement with each other and being able to collaborate on ideas from marketing on social platforms to different ways of prospecting, and the eagerness of wanting to grow and always being open to questions, and there's no silly question, just asking, and we all support each other. That's the great thing is if any one of us needs help on something, like just here at the office today, Harpreet's like, hey, can you print some flyers for? Of course, yeah, and I'll bring them over. She has an open house this weekend, so that's something to where we're always there to help encourage each other. It's that empowerment, enriching each other, and elevating each other in our businesses to constantly be the best versions of ourselves, and by byproduct, it makes us want to be better too. So that's the very great part about it.
Yeah, it's nice for us women to have a support system, especially in most industries have always been predominantly men. I think up until recently, there's actually 56% of realtors are women.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have the support though, because, we're out there.
Yeah. And also same thing I noticed in this position, I feel like as a woman, probably we're kind of more easy to put ourselves in others' shoes. So we will know what the clients are talking about. We will think from their side of what they want and needs.
Yeah.
And then it actually works better in terms of more effective communication because you just get what they're saying.
It's more empathy is a little bit more natural, but it is something to where, and for national and state, women are a predominance. But if you look at, for example, our local associations, the membership base, and this was something I saw being involved in leadership in the years in past, you would see the ratios of men versus women. In our area, it is still a predominantly male-dominated for our market. So even though most places, you have women as dominant, it's very unusual for our office to be all women because most offices, it's predominantly men. So we're like a little bit of the rare diamond, within Silicon Valley. Yeah.
So I know you have a passion for helping other women in real estate. Both of you do. Do you have any plans over the next 6 to 12 months, or what do you think is necessary to help women in our industry right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think really there's so many different components to look at it. It goes into the first part, which is the support system and structure, the encouragement, but also sometimes there's the mental blocks that get in people's way, whether male or female. That's something to where understanding where are these resistances coming from, where are these walls coming from, trying to dissect it a little bit, because when you get down to it, everyone's capable of getting to that same level of potential, and you just have to put the work into it. And sometimes people will resist putting work into it. So that's really the biggest thing, is being able to help people see the opportunities and be able to see where are those things that we can fine tune. So some of the things that we have done is being able to assess situations of, okay, what's going on for your life that's working out well now? What are your obstacles and challenges that we need to work through? Let's talk about that, and getting into a deep dive. And that's something that we're looking forward to continuing to grow, of being able to help more people that, whether they're new in the business, but especially those that are doing 5 or 10 or more transactions a year, that are just not able to unlock that next level. There's so many levels, and you need different systems and support. And how do you have that? And it's something that Ashley and I have both gone through, the changes and the growth in our businesses. So we can speak on it firsthand. So we share a lot of our personal experiences, but also giving them the support and looking at things in a different direction that they may have not considered.
Yeah, no, that is really good advice. Yeah, and especially in real estate, when you're looking to grow, you really want to be around women who have been doing it for a long time. That's the fastest way to learn. And like you said, you already know what the challenges are that you face personally, because real estate is not an easy profession on your personal life. If you really have to learn how to balance and manage everything.
Yes.
So I know you are like the A+ realtor since you were 4.
6, actually. Correction.
So you've built your personal brand, Matters with Motter. You've been doing video marketing since you were supposed to be doing video marketing.
Yeah.
And I know your main source of business is referrals, but what would you say that your second best lead source is?
I would say connections, really, especially because we do so much when it comes to vendors and those in the community. So we have a lot of people that we supply a lot of business to, because we find excellence when it comes to, whether it's our contractors, our painters, our cleaning crew, like whatever it might be, we find people that are excellent at what they do, and we provide that referral source. And that's something to where it comes back, and those connections in that direction, but also the connections within the community. And oddly enough, other realtor referrals. It's been a really wonderful thing where other I've sold and represented other realtors on selling their home more than I actually can't count how many other realtors I represented. And it's something to where they're like, you're the only person I can trust to make sure this is going to get done right. And that's the biggest compliment I could have, is like, this is someone that's been doing it for 30 plus years or how many other years, and they don't want the liability, and they want to make sure it's handled correctly. So then I help them with selling their home, and then some have moved out of state and said, can you just take care of some of these clients that come in? Okay, great. Yeah, definitely can do that. And it's, I would say, yeah, realtors and referrals from past clients, sphere of influence, friends, family has been a big thing. But it really started when I was 18 years old and officially licensed, not the child labor, but being 18, and none of my friends or family could afford, or my friends could not afford to buy or sell. And that's something to where, even though Facebook was just like starting to become a thing like 17 years ago, it wasn't like, I could do any kind of posts that were going to say, oh yeah, let me buy something. So it was really, I had to go knock on doors and call random people and do every kind of marketing I could to get myself out there. And there was days that I would call hundreds of people, or I would knock on 150 plus doors just to get someone to say a yes or to schedule an appointment. And there was a lot of work and drive that went into it, because if I didn't have enough business, my whole day would be spent on prospecting. And now to where my business is so full of business, I don't have time as much for prospecting, which is funny that it kind of, the cycle changes. If you start your whole beginning focused on trying to help serve others, provide value, and reaching out and connecting, eventually it will circle back. So it's pretty cool. And Ashley, I know she has an interesting start in what she's doing now too.
Yeah, so for me, I don't have that over 10 or 20 years experience. Mine's pretty like a new agent experience. But I feel like as long as you keep doing what you're doing, which is, it has to be something that's really productive, not like doing things that's not going to work out in the future, but you need to know the market very well. By the time, I think that was my second year, every day I will write like a work diary, kind of like that, to write down what I've been doing today or what market insights, what are the data, what are the trend. I will give comments on it, or the houses I've showed, I've looked, or the broker tour I've attended. I'll share all this every single day. So people may not know me, but they keep reading on the articles I post, and then they are pretty, they find very fascinated, or they just become interested, and then we will have the first like buyer consultation or seller consultation. And then after talk, they feel very confident because they see, even though you're a new agent, but you know the market very well, and you can immediately tell them the house that they have just looked up maybe a couple of days ago. Or I just mentioned, oh, I think this will be a good fit. They say, oh, we just liked this on our Redfin or Zillow. So that moment, they feel like it's connected. And then after that, things just work out. So I think as a new agent, it's very important to know the market well. That's to be knowledgeable, basically. Once you're knowledgeable, you become more confident. And you're confident when you talk to your clients. They can feel it, they can sense it. That will be a good start. And then once you have accumulated many clients, then now I become more referral basis as well, because I feel like you only have this much time and energy every day, and I really want to give my clients the best service they have, and I can't really handle like hundreds of people at the same time. It's just not making any sense. And so I feel like right now we're still doing what I should do, know the market well, know in this zip code what the houses has been pending, what the price that has been recently sold, what's the price range. If they're looking at a 3-bedroom, how much I should pay, 4-bedroom, how much it makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much.
And where were those diary posts at?
I posted on my WeChat and Redbook, that's social media, so that it get exposed to my previous clients and also kind of prospecting to people I don't know. And
are you still doing that?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's really good at it. And it's something to where if anybody's listening, you need to follow Ashley. She's really great. But I think it's also knowing your audience and where your friends and family and connections are. And Ashley knows, she's okay, my people that I want to connect with and that I want to be able to help serve, and most of my friends and family are going to be on Redbook and WeChat. And for me, it was more Facebook and Instagram and a little bit of LinkedIn in there too. Yeah. So I think it's knowing, because there's so many platforms out there, and you can't be a master at all. So it's knowing what's the main focus of where you want to have that directed.
Exactly.
So what advice, well, I want to hear from both of you because you both have two different perspectives. By the way, I'm kind of new in real estate too. I think I'm on year 6 right now. I always lose track, but I'm pretty new also, so don't. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in real estate? A woman specifically just starting out in real estate.
You can start, Ashley.
I think just as I mentioned earlier, do your own homework first. And I think that's the basics, to make you more successful in the future, is know what you're doing. And also you need to like what you're doing. I really love my job. I'm very happy, although I'm very busy every day, but I just feel it makes me happy. So I wake up the next day, I'm still very energetic and to go to work. So, and third thing is, once you start it, in the beginning, don't think too much about making money. I think it's better to gain experience first and to make yourself more knowledgeable, and then eventually it will just return.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more.
Because if you keep thinking about, I want to make more money, not to service people better, people can sense it. They can feel it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
And also a clientele, what kind of clients you want to attract, and what quality of service you want to provide, and what quality of clients you will have. I will put it this way.
Yeah, and of course we all get into this industry with the hope of making a good income. But if you're helping people with the biggest transaction of their lives, and especially you guys, their life savings is a lot bigger than all of my clients' life savings. And so if your main goal isn't to know the ins and outs, to be able to help them manage those decisions and help educate them through the process, you're going to fail.
Yeah, it is something I think for those starting is to have a perspective and understanding that this business, real estate in general, used to be 75% would drop out in the first 5 years. That is now in the first 12 months. And it's gotten more challenging over the years to be successful in real estate because before you even go to meet that client, they've already looked you up on Realtor.com, Zillow, seen if you have reviews and sales. They've already done research on you before you've even come out. And there's so many more hats that we have to wear in terms of what we do for a transaction, being knowledgeable about contracts, data, research, having all the vendors and contacts, and then being, of course, the psychologist, which has been there for a long time.
Oh my gosh.
And the designer, feedback, and the marketer. There's so many hats that we wear, and so it's challenging for people to get really skilled at all of them. So it takes time, and I find the most common problem is people can be so close to really starting that edge up of where they're going to go in the business, but they lose faith because they think, oh, well, real estate is easy because everyone says it is. And I watch, $1 Million Listing Show, and it seems just so easy. So why am I not like selling $1 million homes my first few months in the business? And it's like, well, you have to master your craft first to be of value. And really, that's where I think the huge value of having a mentor and support, because those that have mentors and support with proper education have a higher success rate than those that are doing it on their own. And I think that's the biggest challenge in this industry is people say, okay, great, I got my license and I got tested on a lot of things that I'm not going to be using, and I don't have any practice on what is the everyday conversation and how do I make sure I factor all these different things for the client. And having someone that's experienced, skilled, productive, and the market they're wanting to serve, to either ask to, that's funny part is how Ashley and I connected was that just, and I'm sure, Mari, you've heard this story so many times, but it was wonderful because I had too many listings and I needed help. And I'm like, I need an open house host. And she responded back immediately with, oh my gosh, okay, so I looked at all the comps and this is all the data and I say these are all the trends. I'm like, how did you do that in 15 minutes? And I did tell her, I'm like, I love you. Like it just
in the first call.
I know, I'm like, oh, I gave it away too soon. But it's never stopped. But yeah, that was something that impressed me about her. And I think that's something when you want to get the attention of someone that does a high volume of production and you want to work with someone in that kind of caliber to learn, from those that are really producing the industry, you have to stand out. And it's like, how can I be of help for you? And this is what I've done. And make yourself different. What are your value points? And that's something to where that stood out to me. And she asked, I think it was after the open house or something, will you be my mentor? And I was like, yes.
I feel very, very honored and lucky to have Trisha being my mentor when I first started this career. And it does make a difference because the destination is there. Mm-hmm. Either you have to walk all the way there, zigzag, and you might have all this wrong way you go, right? Eventually you're going to get there, but it takes time. And you might get frustrated or you just quit. But then having a good mentor, it's like someone's leading you or a light is there guiding you, going to the the right way. Mm-hmm. And because there are so many obstacles in this industry too. You need to make sure you are not doing something that's not supposed to be happening just because you want a shortcut. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm very, very lucky to have a good mentor who knows all the ethical stuff and then also compliances. So she knows what we can do, what we cannot, and what's the boundaries and what service, what advice we can give to our clients. And what we should tell them to ask another professional who can, like a CPA or attorney, that service they can provide. So, I think that's very important.
I think you and I are both lucky that way because we kind of had a fast forward track to success.
Yeah.
Because we surrounded ourselves with people who are high producers, extremely ethical, and like you said, know the compliance behind everything. And I would say that probably is all the advice both of you gave to new agents starting out is good, but that's probably the best because all the rest is going to come if you're around someone. So the coaching and the mentorship is huge.
It definitely helps accelerate the speed of success. And I've encountered some people that they said, well, I just want to do everything myself because I want to make sure I get 100% that commission. I'm like, well, 100% of nothing is still zero. So it's really, you know, about sometimes it's like to be able to work with someone. Sometimes, you know, you're going to have to pay for that education or support in some way. But it's almost like getting a master's degree and like the real live action time of what's happening. And so then that way, instead of, you know, waiting 5-10 years to get to that point, you could do it in 3 or less. You know, it just all depends. And it's also the big part is what you can have every tool, system, be amazing on social media and be a mega influencer and do all these things, and you still may not have business if you don't have the drive to do the things that people aren't willing to do and put the hard work in.
Yeah, I think hard work is very important too. Just like do it. You can think of millions of ways to do it, not doing it, or you can just like go and knock at someone's door and say,
yeah, the people that have all these amazing ideas but they never do anything with it. I'm like,
I think execution is very important.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, this is my last question for both of you. I'm going to ask Trish first. What has been the best moment of your real estate career up until this point?
Oh my gosh, and that's such a hard question because
time to think.
So, you know what's funny is the first thing that actually comes up to my mind is just there's so many memories. It's like a wheel of the happy tears, the people that you've impacted. The people that said, oh my gosh, I didn't think this was ever going to be possible, and you made it happen. Whether it was, you know, they had specific needs when it came to selling their, like there's been clients where they're elderly and they have fears about people coming into their home and they don't trust people coming out. I'm not there to change their beliefs and force them to do something that it's like, okay, how can we do things to make sure you're comfortable, and getting them above market value for the home compared to a house down the street that was completely fixed up and staged, and getting them more money and a free rent back to be able to go with the time that they need. And there's been so many cases like that. Or the buyers that think, oh my gosh, we're going to get priced out of the market soon. We need something. Trisha, this offer is not going to get accepted. You're asking for the furniture too? What are you doing? And they're like, oh my gosh, you got it all. Like that is like the greatest feeling of being able to help so many people with the just the process that you feel that impact that you're making in their lives, because it's not just a house. This is huge for them. It's a big part of you know, where they're going to be raising their family, their kids, or taking care of mom and dad, or it's just them and they want to have that safe space to call home is a big thing. And I know Ashley might be similar, but I will actually add another side note, not client related. Being involved in real estate, it's giving me such a huge passion and love for life, and made things possible that I didn't think would actually come from it. And probably one of the greatest unexpected gifts was finding the love of my life, Michael, through real estate. And that was something I would have never anticipated. But oh my gosh, how much my life has changed because of that. So I think I may have to claim Michael Gordon as my best moment in real estate. You go ahead, Ashley.
Well, Trish and I both have very similar beliefs that things happen when they're supposed to, with who they're supposed to. So I believe you guys met on purpose.
Yes.
You and Michael met on purpose. Like, it's obvious. All of us business partners here met on purpose. We were all supposed to be together. So.
I know. I think about, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I never would have met Ashley, like, my life would not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine Trisha without Ashley. I don't even remember who you were.
I know.
So yeah, I think it's not only like terms of working with people you like and you find that chemistry just like works out, but also in when we're working with buyers, the same thing. Sometimes, like I think last month I had a closing. The client was, when I told them our offer get accepted, they can't believe it. They literally cannot believe it. Are you kidding? Because we literally bought a house at a asking price is a marketing price. We call it a marketing price because we know the value is much higher. And then I actually negotiated. We have a $80,000 less than the asking price. They can't believe it because they want to come in like $200K over asking. And I told them why. And this is not the first time happening, because you know this crazy market. buyers has been making multiple offers, not getting accepted. They're very frustrating. They just want to buy something immediately, no more looking. And then as an agent, I feel like, if you really want to get this thing down, you can just write whatever numbers they want. But I feel like as agent, the client hires you because they trust you. Your opinion is actually very, very important, since this is like maybe one of the biggest transactions in their entire life. So after we got accepted, they immediately they just can't believe it, and then they were like, wow, we can't believe this is really happening. And then the money they saved, they could put it into remodel their houses. And then next week, I think there's another one that's win pending. It's like more than 300K over our price.
Yes.
So moments like this, I feel very happy because the clients see your value is, and you feel happy that I standing strong when everyone's going crazy, and I know what the value of the house is, how much work we need to put in. We count it as a whole, not just saying, oh, we bought this house, that's it. Because you need to know what's coming for the remodeling cost, for the tax, the property tax bills. Sometimes they have HOAs, and all this kind of taking into consideration of whether you really can afford it or not. So I think for me, I have times like this makes me very, very happy.
I mean, I don't think there's a better story out there than that one to encourage potential home buyers to make sure that they are interviewing the agents that they're working with to make sure that they have their best interest at heart and are skilled to get them a home in this market. Because like you said, anyone can just write an offer $100,000 over a list price, but to actually know the market and to study the value of a home is a skill.
Yes, that, and also reading people, and that's something too, is it is knowing the market, knowing the data, reading people, especially when we have conversations with the agents, getting a feel for things. And the weird thing is sometimes we go off of our gut feelings, and it's so weird how sometimes our gut feelings are like so right on. But it is something to where I think exactly what Ashley is sharing. If you're not just someone that is writing a contract just to make it win, it's like, no, we are advocates for our clients. And if we can make sure our buyer saves money and has every opportunity they can for them, and focus on the opportunity in front of them, instead of just going with whatever, no, let's really look at the situation, assess it, be thoughtful, be strategic. And so then that way they win in the end. And with our sellers, we look at not just of how can we get them top value in the market and get the highest return and the best terms and conditions, but also what is their experience like? What is it that's important to them? What are the non-negotiables? And I feel like in the market we have, privacy is one of our big things, whether it's our sellers, and some say, I've had some people say, I don't want to sign. I don't want anyone in my neighborhood to know. I don't want my kids to know. No one will know. You're just going to talk to people and find the right person that's going to give me the highest offer. And you're like, okay, that's what they want. Even though you share everything with them on the value of marketing and staging, some people have very specific needs. And that's something that we just customize everything to the client. We're very thoughtful on every part of the process to make sure that they're the best represented.
Well, I love that you both answered to what the best moment was, that your answers were around helping other people and other people's lives becoming better because of the work that you do. So I just feel lucky that I get to work with both of you. Thanks.
Thanks, Mari. We feel the same way.
Thanks so much for coming today, and I can't wait to have you both back.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
There's always going to be more to talk about.
Always.
Yes.
Hey, this is Coach Nick. Check out my episode on $1 Million Listening with the amazing host, Mari Wines, here at E3 Realty.